So right, fine. I'll start with my brief initial remarks. Good afternoon and namaste to everyone. I am very glad and delighted to be part of this very auspicious webinar being organized by Institute of Management, NIRMA University, Ahmedabad. And I have always believed in the power of young India. I've always felt very elated and enthused with energy whenever I interact with the younger people like you. So the topic today, which we are going to discuss, is push. So push is it is being debriefed as persistent until something happens. So persistent until something happens. So which basically means that you have to keep working. You have to keep giving your efforts unless and until you achieve your goals. So, briefly, I would like to mention about me, about my journey. I am Sonal Goel. I am 2008 batch officer. My cadre is Tripura. And if I talk about my own self, I belong to a place called Panipat in Haryana. Since the students you are based right now in Ahmedabad, so I'm not sure how many are aware about Haryana and the districts in Haryana. So primarily, I have been belonging to Panipat district in Haryana, and then my father is a chartered accountant. So my father, he set up his own practice in Delhi. So therefore, we had the opportunity of having our education in Delhi. So I did my schooling from DAV Public School, Pitampura. And friends, just to share with you that how I came into civil services, I would really like to mention that aspect of my life with you all. So when I was doing my graduation, I was doing it from Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi University. I'm talking way back in 2003. And at that time, I was also doing CS. So at that moment, doing CS along with your regular graduation course was allowed. So I was doing both these courses, and it was actually in third year of my graduation when I was also doing CS. So my CS second stage was over, and I was in the third year of graduation. And I read about civil services. Frankly, nobody in my family up till that moment had ever thought of coming into civil services. And there were so many apprehensions when I discussed this with my parents, especially my father, that this is still one of the toughest examinations in the country. And then once I am actually attempting for civil services, it is not sure that I would be selected. And even if I get selected, there would be no guarantee as to which service I will get, and after service, like which cadre I would get, and how will I settle my family life. So all these apprehensions came into the mind of my parents, especially my father. And I was actually, so as to say, I was internally so much moved, and I actually felt that I should be part of civil services because I thought that it would give me a platform to serve the nation, serve the country, to do something for the society, which in my capacity, if I join the private sector, I may not be able to do. So these all thoughts were coming into my mind. But when this was being discussed, there were a lot of debates, a lot of discussions. But then after say around 6 to 8 months, my family agreed. My father said, "Okay, if you want to do, you appear." But then he also suggested one thing, that you should have a plan B in life. So by plan B, he mentioned that I should have an alternative career option. So if I don't clear civil services, then what is it that I would be doing? Because he also suggested that since you're already into private, you are going to head into the private sector as per the present career path. So if you don't get into civil services, you should not waste your knowledge, your whatever you have learned so far, it should not be wasted. So I took my father's advice. So I completed my graduation in 2003, and then I completed my CS in 2004. And then when I completed CS, I appeared for LLB entrance from Delhi University, and I took admission into Faculty of Law for doing LLB in 2004. In 2004 itself, I started my job, part-time job as company secretary because I actually felt that since I am professionally qualified, अब मुझे experience भी लेना है, and along with that experience, I should also earn for myself. This was also one thing which was coming into my mind, that I am a graduate and I become a professionally qualified CS, so I should also earn for myself. So for that reason also, I started my part-time job. And of course, since my focus in life at that moment was to be in civil services, I started my preparation. So from 2004 to 2007, these three things were going on, moving on parallelly in my life. Focus was, of course, on civil services preparation. Then I also completed my law, and I was, of course, doing my part-time job almost 3 years. So, friends, my first attempt for civil services was in 2006, wherein I appeared for prelims. I wrote mains examination, but unfortunately, I did not get an interview call. So, I did not get an interview call. Of course, I was very much demotivated, dejected, and it was not easy to immediately think of what has to be done. But then I took maybe few days time, and then I recollected myself, and I gave a commitment to my own self that जो next attempt मेरा होगा, it would be like that I should not have any grudge on my own self that I did not give my 100%. So recollecting all my energy, all my efforts, I whatever I could do, I did. And since I had already written mains, I actually understood my weak areas, why I did not score well to get an interview call. So this also helped me to improvise in my second attempt. And in my second attempt, that was in 2007, I appeared, and with my hard work, with my efforts, with support of my parents, and of course with the blessings of Almighty, I cleared the examination. The result was announced on I think 12th May 2008, and I was selected with All India rank 13th. So that was a day wherein I felt कि जो मैंने अचीव करने के लिए कोशिश किया, so that at least I could reach up to that level, that I was part of civil services. Then I joined my training at Labasna, Mussoorie. I joined there in September 2008, and I met officers from all across the country. Mussoorie, Labasna was the first hostel for me. Till that time, I had never stayed in a hostel. I was always in with my parents, with my family. So this was also a change. And it was in December 2008 that we had got our cadres allocated, and I got, due to the roster system, I got Manipur Tripura cadre. That time it was a joint cadre. And then after joint cadre, you are generally allocated a state. And then I was allocated to Tripura. So I joined Tripura in 2009, June 2009, I joined Tripura. From 2009 June to July 2016, so almost more than 7 years, I worked in Tripura. I got opportunity to serve in various capacities in field. I was STM, I was ADM, I was also CEO of Agartala Municipal Council. Then I was heading the education department. I worked in labor department, and then I again I joined as DM and collector in district Gomti. This was my tenure in Tripura, and then I came to Haryana on inter-cadre deputation. In Haryana, I got the opportunity to serve for 4 years, and my postings were in Faridabad as municipal commissioner, corporation commissioner, CEO Smart City. Then I was in Jhajjar as deputy commissioner. Then I came back again to Faridabad, and then I got posted in Gurgaon. So Gurugram. So these have been, like, it is now more than 13 years, almost 14 years that I have been into service. So that journey, if I recollect, when I was of your age, when I was doing my graduation, 2002 to 2000, now 2022, it is almost 2 decades. So friends, I have actually learned a lot. There have been lot of changes in the way I think, lot of changes in I look at things now, in my orientation. And as the topic also says, that you have to be persistent until something happens. So there is no other way than to be firstly clear what you want to achieve in life. It is also important to have that clarity, friends. लाइक इन माई केस मुझे सिविल सर्विसेज में आना था, ये बात मैंने बहुत लेट में रियलाइज किया. सो इट वॉज लाइक ऑल्टरनेटिव करियर को चुनना आफ्टर ग्रेजुएशन. It is not easy. It has its own, implications. But I took that risk. And I got the support of my family, and thankfully my efforts were rewarded. I got into civil services. But it may also happen that you may not get what you want. So जो आपका एम है वो क्लियर होना चाहिए. ये बात मैं इसलिए बोल रही हूँ कि आपका जो माइंड में पर्पस है, जो एम है, वो क्लियर होना चाहिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ आई टॉक अबाउट माई ओन सेल्फ, मैं सिविल सर्विसेज में इसलिए आई कि मुझे सोसाइटी के लिए, नेशन के लिए कुछ करना था. और मुझे ऐसा लगा कि उस पोजीशन में एक मिडिल क्लास फैमिली से बिलोंग करती हुई एक लड़की जो कुछ करना चाहती है, उसके लिए और कोई बेटर अपॉर्चुनिटी उस टाइम पे नहीं थी. क्योंकि आई वॉज नॉट हैविंग दैट मच मनी एंड रिसोर्स टू हैव माई ओन बिजनेस, कि मैं जिसके अंडर CSR एक्टिविटीज कुछ करूँ. और आई डिड नॉट हैव दैट मच कैपेसिटी टू रन माई ओन NGO एट दैट टाइम. आई वॉज अ ग्रेजुएट. इंडिपेंडेंट NGO को एस्टैब्लिश करना, इट वुड टेक टाइम. Or I mean, so I had examined all other alternatives. So this was, I think, it came into my mind. So when I'm talking to you that you have to keep on persisting, it is also important कि आपको लाइफ में क्या चाहिए. That burning aim or the burning purpose should be clear in your mind, and also how you will achieve that. How you will achieve that goal, it is also important to have that, सो एज टू स्टे दैट ग्राफ और दैट एक्शन प्लान इन योर माइंड कि मैं इस साल में ये करना है, अगले साल में ये करना है. एंड दिस इज हाउ आई वुड बी इन नेक्स्ट 3 years, 5 years. दिस इज माई एक्शन प्लान. दिस इज ऑल्सो इम्पॉर्टेंट टू हैव दैट. योर जो गोल सेटिंग, जो अगर आप मैनेजमेंट के स्टूडेंट्स हैं तो वी ऑल रीड अबाउट गोल सेटिंग. एंड देन द गोल सेटिंग वुड नीड ऑल्सो द टाइम लाइन्स. एंड आई ऑलवेज एडवाइज द स्टूडेंट्स कि आपका जो गोल्स होगा, जो टाइम लाइन्स होगा, इट शुड बी बोथ शॉर्ट टर्म एंड लॉन्ग टर्म. तो लॉन्ग टर्म में सपोज आपको यहाँ पे जाना है, मुझे मुझे सिविल जाना, क्या होगा, पर हाउ वुड ब्रेकअप इट से इन क्वार्टरली, सो ऐसे, राइट. दिस इज ऑल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट. हुआ के बाद रिव्यू देते हैं तो एक 4 Ps एक्चुअली, वो सिर्फ उसके लिए इंटरव्यू नहीं बोला था, बट ऑलवेज आई हैव 4 Ps in my life. So I which I mention as passion, patience, perseverance and positive outlook. I repeat it here: passion, patience, perseverance and positive outlook. So आपको किसी भी चीज को पाने का एक जुनून होना चाहिए, पैशन होना चाहिए. आपको क्यों चाहिए? पेशेंस इसलिए जरूरी है कि वो फर्स्ट टाइम में मिले ना मिले ये कोई जरूरी नहीं है. और परसिवरेंस क्यों चाहिए? बिकॉज यू हैव टू कीप ऑन गिविंग योर एफर्ट्स. एंड पॉजिटिव आउटलुक इसलिए चाहिए कि वी ऑल टेंड टू बी डीमोटिवेटेड, वी ऑल टेंड टू बी डीमोरलाइज, but it is important to have that positive thoughts and optimism in your life, in your mind, and keep on moving towards your goal. So I think these were my initial remarks.